They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
What's up, everybody? My name is Ethan. This is Courtside TV. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into it. So, this is the 4th out of 4 videos on the big trade breakdown that went down this past week, the James Harden massive swap extravaganza. If you missed it, I broke down each side of this trade. So today we're going to be talking about the Indiana Pacers. Yesterday I had the Cavaliers. A couple days ago it was the Rockets. Before that, the Brooklyn Nets. So if you missed any of those videos, you want to know what my thoughts are on each of these teams that were involved in this big swap, then you can go ahead and check those out. And yeah, let's get into it with the Pacers. Similarly to the Cavaliers, the Pacers kind of came out of nowhere on this one. We weren't really hearing much about them potentially being involved in a James Harden deal. Obviously, we weren't really hearing them involved as a destination for James Harden, and they didn't end up being it, of course. But they did get involved here, and the Victor Oladipo move has happened now. That was something that we kind of anticipated over the offseason, where there was some noise about him potentially wanting out, wanting to be somewhere else, and maybe they wanted to move on from him considering he's going to be a free agent after this year, weren't sure how much they were going to pay him considering his injury history and all of that. So with all of that, culminating over the offseason, nothing ended up happening at the time, and now, just a couple weeks into this regular season here, they do end up moving Victor Oladipo for Caris LeVert. And the reason that Indiana does this here is basically for the longer term security, because Oladipo, as I mentioned, was expiring after this season, so he could have left in free agency, and from the way that things were going, all indications were that he was going to leave in free agency. Looked like he did not want to be there anymore. So they bring in Caris LeVert, who is signed for this season plus 2 more after, so effectively a 3-year contract here for Caris LeVert, and that just allows the Pacers to have a lot more long-term security for the roster that they have. Now they pretty much have everybody on this team signed for the next couple of seasons. You got him, LeVert, obviously the new guy, as well as Sabonis, Miles Turner, TJ Warren, Brogdon. All of them are, have multiple years left on their contract, I believe, except for maybe TJ Warren. He's expiring. I'm not sure on that one, but most of these guys are signed long-term for this team. So this is going to be their core for the next couple of years. And LeVert fits in a very similar way that Oladipo did, to be completely honest. He is probably going to be starting for them, I would assume, starting just in place of Oladipo at that 2-guard spot. And I think he can just slide into the lineup and do some very similar things to Oladipo. Now, is LeVert as good as Oladipo at his peak? Probably not, right? Because we know that he was an all-star a couple of years ago, has been not quite the same as he's worked his way back from this injury, but has actually looked pretty good to open this year. So maybe he does regain that all-star form, but who knows at this point, right? That's a big question mark, and clearly Indiana is opting for some security here. So LeVert can easily step into this Oladipo role, and he's a guy who has all-star potential. He's still a young guy. I believe he's like 25, 26 maybe, still very much in his physical prime, and he's got a lot of years left, and he's not going to be too expensive. Like I said, he's got that contract. I believe it's around 16, 17 million a year for the next few, so Oladipo was probably going to demand a little bit more than that, so they get a guy who's a little bit cheaper, obviously probably not quite as good, but it's really this security play for them. And I should also mention that they did get a second-round pick back in this deal. I think it's a 2023 second-round pick from the Rockets. Nothing huge there, but that does help, recoup some of that value lost because, like I said, Oladipo is a little bit better of a player than Caris LeVert. So getting that second-round pick is not, it's not a huge deal, but it is something. So I really like this move for Indiana. I think it makes total sense for them to do this here. It's just a smart move out here by their GM in order to bring in a guy who has that long-term security, is his younger, doesn't have the injury history, and is still a very capable player. We will have to see how Caris LeVert looks and how he fits into this new role here, because in Brooklyn he was alternating 6-man or being a starter. He was kind of, that role was up in the air, especially after the Dinwiddie injury happened, and he was kind of playing third banana behind Kyrie and Kevin Durant. But at points, we've seen him be a very, very capable first guy, because obviously last year KD didn't play, Kyrie Irving was hurt for a lot of it, and so we saw Caris LeVert as the lead guy, and he was definitely more than capable of putting up big performances. There was a night like last week where he scored 43 points with both of their stars being out, and he was able to put up some big numbers there. We saw him in the bubble almost eliminating the Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. In that last game, the Blazers had to win to get into the postseason, and Caris had had a jumper from like the key to almost send them home. I think if it gone down, they would have won. They ended up losing by like 1 point or something like that. And he played a great game that night as well. So we've seen some big Caris LeVert performances in the past, and that came when he was, you know, the number one option, the clear-cut number one option on a night when the other stars on the Brooklyn Nets weren't playing, right? So here with the Pacers, it'll be interesting to see this role here because he can easily be the number one offensive guy on this team. Not saying that he's going to, but it's not like that much of a stretch because nobody here is, you know, Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving or anybody that he's played with like that, right? The Pacers have some really good players, like Malcolm Brogdon is very good, but he himself is not a huge shot taker. He's not a guy that's going to, you know, shoot 25 times a game like some of these other players. And Domantas Sabonis is also a very, very good player, but he doesn't have to shoot a lot to be effective either. He's another guy who doesn't super need the ball to be a really, really effective player. He's, you know, efficient and makes the most with the shots that he has. So Caris, for them, is he going to be that guy who comes in and takes the offense, you know, and plays that similar role to Oladipo, because Oladipo was taking more of the shots when he was, you know, healthy in that all-star form, and then working his way back has kind of been up and down. So maybe Caris LeVert is going to take that, you know, and be their kind of star guard, their star wing type of guy, and be able to, you know, really put up some big points. And be the head of the offense here. That's certainly a possibility. It's an unknown right now, just seeing, you know, what they want to do with their offense, and Nate Bjorkgren is still kind of figuring out what he wants to do with this team, and then bringing in LeVert obviously changes things. So that's, you know, another just wait and see for this team here with Caris, but certainly he's very capable of doing it, and we've seen him do it in the past, so maybe the Pacers are just going to let him loose, and we'll really see the full capability and the full possibilities of what Caris LeVert can do. So I have nothing bad to say about this trade. I think it makes sense for them to do what they did, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see, right? It could end up biting them in the butt if Victor Oladipo does end up returning to that all-star that he was 2 seasons ago, but clearly there was enough concern there for them to be willing to trade him away, and given the fact that he's a pending free agent and might not have come back anyway, this could be seen as a pretty good move here for the Indiana Pacers. So yeah, I like the trade. I think it makes sense, and I'm excited to see Caris in this new role because I think he definitely has the possibility to become a really, really good player. Not that he, you know, isn't a really good player already, but I think we'll see a little bit more of his strengths come to light here with the Indiana Pacers. But yeah, that's about all I have for you today on the Caris LeVert to the Indiana Pacers trade. Like I said at the top of the video, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, ring the bell if you want to, leave a comment letting me know what you guys think about this move. How do you think the Pacers did? Was it smart for them to do this? How does it fit basketball-wise? Love to hear all your thoughts down there in the comments. But like I said, that's all I got for you, so I'll see you guys in the next one.